Live from Los Angeles, welcome to Good Morning LaLa Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jez Moyer. This is Good Morning LaLa Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Also available on Connect TV, on Apple TV, and Roku.
Right, today is all about love. It's Friday Feeling, dating, love, and relationships. And we've got an incredible, inspiring, talented singer, songwriter, producer, bringing love to the world through his music. And we also have a top world-renowned psychic in the house who's going to give us some love from the other side. Psychic medium, right?
What better gift could I ask for on my birthday?
Happy birthday, Jez.
Then love and a little psychic reading from beyond. A look into my future. Happy birthday, fellow Geminis. It's going to be a great year for us.
I love
Let's
that.
talk about that. Let's talk about those Geminis over there.
I love fellow Gemini, right? We attract each other like crazy. So in our love and relationships, it's going to be a good year for us. It says, according to astrostyle.com, that there's going to be a release from a very challenging cycle. And come November, we'll be learning some little life lessons that will help us build relationships. I'm very much looking forward to that. In money and career, this is a super year for enterprise. So great new opportunities for us to really reap the abundance Dr. Erin says we deserve, right?
That's right. Your birthright is abundance for sure. But I just want to celebrate your birthday and celebrate you. And you are such a light to our lives, the show. Such an amazing human being. So we're definitely celebrating this day for sure.
And I like to celebrate with some of my favorite gifts that I've been getting all this year on Good Morning LaLa Land. It's been an incredible year of abundance for us, from the Badgley Mishkas, the La Colombe coffee, the Solberg wines. I am so grateful to be a part of this community and to have received such incredible, beautiful gifts.
Right.
Perfect night out right there.
Right?
Yes!
The shoes, the wine, the coffee.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everything that makes this birthday girl feel like her best self. Good shoes, good wine, good coffee.
Right.
We so appreciate and love you, Justin.
So I want to know from you guys, like, are birthdays really important? And not, what are they? Because like for me, birthdays are important, but I love to just go like to one, like an intimate dinner with a best friend or boyfriend or whatever it is. Like, I'm not a big party on my birthday kind of a girl. How about you guys? Are you like, the more the merrier?
Well, as you know, I'm kind of like this serial socialite. So I like to spread my birthday across like the entire month. I don't really celebrate it just on one day because obviously there's so many people in my life that I want to celebrate with that can't make it to one event. So there'll be coffee with so-and-so, wine with such and such. And I just like to, connect with people and have a reason to celebrate.
Yeah, totally.
We celebrate our friendship, our relationships beyond just the day that's about me. It's not about that at all.
For sure.
I love celebrating other people's birthdays. Yeah. So I would love to celebrate Justin's, but I like pretending like I don't have one.
Right?
Yeah.
One thing I like doing the last few years, and I like doing, is just inviting people for like a drink at a restaurant bar, because there's not pressure. You don't have to like plan. If people show up, they show up. If they don't, you don't have to have like an exact number and stuff. But everyone wants to be involved. Everyone wants to, So looking forward to some of those events with you over the weekend, Jez, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I love birthdays because they're a great reason and excuse for us to enjoy dessert. Everybody in LA is like, oh, no, I don't want dessert. If it's a birthday, you have no excuse in my book. Like, the law of the universe says if it is a birthday, you must partake in something sweet to honor those.
Right. I think that actually baking a cake for somebody is probably one of the best birthday presents you could ever do, just because, look, we all mostly generally have what we need, and it's like, what are you going to buy? But there's something about when you go you actually bake a cake in your kitchen for somebody.
Do you bake cakes, Erin?
I do on a rare occasion.
Really?
for birthdays, yeah.
Keep that in mind.
I mean, they're not like, I don't know if I do it from complete scratch. Like, I'll get some box, some other things, make it all whatever. If I can't cook something within like 30 minutes, it's not going to happen.
Well, Erin, I don't expect a birthday cake from you until Monday.
That's right, exactly. Give you some
How do
time.
you know I didn't already get you one?
I'm just saying.
There's all kinds of surprises that happen around here. You never know.
This is true.
It's been a great year so far, and it's going to be a great year ahead. I'm so excited to get some guidance for our very special guest, Rebecca Fearing, who's got a special look at love and family and relationships for each of us. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more on Good Morning LaLa Land. Back live from Los Angeles. This is Good Morning LaLa Land, and today is a special day for me because it is my birthday.
We're all celebrating.
We're celebrating, and I'm making a point to prioritize my self-care this year. And thank God I have two very good experts in such, a happiness expert, a doctor of divinity, and they're helping me create some boundaries
It's a big one
in
for
my
sure.
life.
So, it's Friday feeling, and I think that one of the biggest and most common questions that gets asked from so many people is, how do I deal with negative people in my life? How do I deal with X, Y, and Z people? And I think that when we're trying to stay positive, we're trying to stay in our space, trying to self-care, whatever, we have to learn how to set boundaries. I know for me, that was a big, huge challenge in my life, right?
I just yell at them or cut them out.
Okay, Rob, I really have a hard time believing that. He keeps his cool more than anybody ever. He's like, I'm super mad right now.
Right, totally. But there's a great article in Body, Mind, Green, and it talks about the 6 steps to setting good boundaries. And I think it's an important conversation because how do you set a boundary, right? So do you just cut somebody off? Do you, and there's a spectrum, right? To set boundaries is different with each person. Some people are really good at holding their boundaries, others are not. So let's walk through this real quick.
All right.
So the first is know this sad truth. No boundaries equals low self-esteem, basically. And I think that's interesting because the bottom line is, why do you want to set boundaries? We want to set boundaries so we're not getting so upset that it's hurting our health, basically,
Wow,
right?
absolutely.
So it comes down to self-love.
It
So low self-esteem obviously comes with low self-love.
So that's all about being your best advocate then, right?
Yeah, what is that going to take for you to love yourself enough to not have such great upsets or, get you out of your comfort zone in whatever area of your life and love yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So second is decide what your core values are. And I think this is really important because if somebody's pushing our limits and having us not live our truth, as we say, right, it's because we're not really, we need to get more in tune with what works for us. So getting in tune with your values. What's important to you, sleep-wise, phone-wise, socializing-wise, what is that? And being able to know that so that you even know what boundaries to set, right?
Yes, absolutely true. What would you say your values are?
Oh, on the spot. I very much value my inner circle, right? My intimate inner circle, whether it's my friends, my family, people I'm in a relationship with. That's where I place so much value. And I'm trying to work on that and create boundaries even within that, because I think my top priority is typically, almost far to an extent, investing in those relationships and maybe not taking as good of care of myself because I'm so heavily vested in that.
Right.
It is such a pendulum, I think, because I find myself sometimes sort of over-investing in like other things or other people, and then I realize I'm drained, so then I gotta invest in me. So it's a bit of a pendulum, and I think that maybe the myth of always being in this sweet spot where you're always like perfectly balanced might be, well, just that, a myth.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely variations. I think we're talking about places in your life where you're getting so upset that it's really affecting your health, your mental state, whatever that is, and that's where you really have to set the boundaries. This is not time management. We're talking about boundaries here, right? Okay, so next is, number 3 is, you can't change others, so change yourself. And I've been there a zillion times. I'm trying to fix, change, and whatever. The whole, fixing up rehab relationships for me years back was not a good thing. It was like I realized, oh, let's not try and change them. Let's change this. So 3 is, you can't change others, so change yourself. And oh my gosh, you guys, seriously, I know this better than all of them combined, because I used to be one of those women that would like try and fix, change, and whatever the person I was in a relationship or whatever, and it never worked out. It was not a good thing. So I finally went like, oh, I probably need to change myself.
Yeah, and you just have to be careful in that because you can't change yourself to meet their needs and expectations either. So it's really being careful and mindful of being who you are, letting them be who they are, allowing yourselves this individuality, and if it works, great. But it's not like you're sacrificing.
That's never going to happen with me. So
pretty firm about who you are, huh? Yeah, I can appreciate that. As a kid, I was the opposite of that. I was always like a chameleon, and I would always be changing myself, like in order to suit the other person or circumstances. First of all, exhausting. It's terrible for you, and then nobody ever really gets to know who you truly are.
I know.
So that can be a little, that's a problem in of itself. So you're
true.
absolutely right. But that being said, I will say, when I got into like psychology, part of me somewhere thought that I was in the people change business. I remember always kind of thinking that. And then over time, life and other people will break you of that belief very quickly.
That's I experienced
Right?
the same thing
Yeah.
for sure. And working with clients, it was like unless they're really desiring that, there's you don't need to tell them all the distinctions and tell them whatever. Like
Yeah, I've given up. I'm out of the people change business. Completely.
So
Yeah.
true. So number 5 is let your behavior, not your words, speak for you, which is so important. A lot of people say, I'm setting boundaries now, and let me tell you, these are the boundaries. And it's like, it doesn't work anyway. People are just not like,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh.
I give myself boundaries all the time, and thank God I don't say them out loud because I would be embarrassing myself daily. Like, oh, I set a bedtime for myself at 8 o'clock, and it's 9 o'clock, and I'm having a second glass of wine right now. So my boundaries are clearly out the door.
Right?
There's an expression sometimes I use with myself mostly, but sometimes I'll share it with clients, which is, I can show you better than I can tell you. And I try to keep that in mind because you're absolutely right. Like, as soon as you speak something out, then you end up finding yourself not living up to it, and then before long, you're diluting your words.
So true.
Yeah.
Under promise, over deliver, as
There
they
you
say.
go.
So number
Even to
6
yourself.
Yes.
That is key because
Yeah.
the one who's going to be up with you in the middle of the night is
you.
yourself. Yeah.
So true.
Keep it yourself. So number 6 is say what you mean and mean what you say. So yeah, integrity again. You know, another thing that I just want to say, because I remember having to set boundaries. I was in a really horrific relationship with somebody who really did not ever hold boundaries at all. And I remember one of the most genius things that I had to walk myself through a program, basically was putting what my boundaries are, what my deal breakers are, and what my ideal scene was. And I let him know what my deal breakers were, and he would keep repeating breaking those, and so I couldn't point the finger at him anymore. I had to point the finger
Wow.
at me. Why am I staying in something that have clearly said what works or doesn't work for me, and they keep breaking them? So it doesn't have anything to do with him. It has to do with myself.
That's
Yeah.
profound. There's an exercise I use sometimes with executives called a human user manual, and basically what you do is
I need that.
You
What
need
is
it, right?
that?
We all need that. Like, where's this person's buttons? Push them. But like, yeah, it's basically a series of questions where you answer for yourself, but the other people in your team or whoever, or the other people maybe in your life answer the same questions. And it's kind of like, what are my triggers? What are my pet peeves? How do I like to be communicated with? How do I feel? When do I feel most loved? So I find that like those questions are so helpful to know the answers to, because it does allow you to not only set better boundaries, but also understand when you may have stepped over the line
Right,
with yourself
totally.
or somebody else.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Completely.
important, and just knowing that, you know, birthdays, self-love, this is something that each year we have a day to celebrate, a day to look at our lives and go, okay, we get to choose the next year. What do we want to focus on? What do we want to create for our lives? And I know, Jazz, you're creating so much for this community,
thank
so
you.
much for this show, and I'm just holding you in the highest, most amazing, incredible year of your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Amen to that. Stay tuned for 2 of our favorite guests when we come back on Good Morning La La Land. Welcome to the Focus TV studios in West Hollywood. I'm Jessica Moyer, host of LA Unscripted and co-host of Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show. And today I have the privilege to announce the latest issue of Focus magazine, and we're calling it the Empowerment Issue. These pages are filled with some of the most amazing personalities that are truly empowering others. On the cover is Ms. Kelly Gores, a filmmaker who's dedicated her work to empowering others to take charge of their own health and wellness and heal. We're also proud to feature Mr. Mark Teschner, a 9-time Emmy Award-winning casting director for General Hospital. I had the honor of interviewing Mr. Teschner at Prospect Studios, where he is empowering some of the most talented personalities in daytime television. It is an honor to feature Ms. Ellen Rakuten, a 13-time Emmy Award-winning producer known for her work empowering others through The Oprah Show and now in Red Table Talks. She is a true entertainment mogul, a loving mother, and an absolute empowerista. And speaking of empowerista, the creator of the Empowerista show herself, Ms. Alex Worley. And where can you find an LA dining experience that feels like home? Right in Encino on Ventura Boulevard. I had the honor of interviewing Chef Nigel at Davenport's, where it's good food, good friends, and great family. And Focus magazine readers now have a new morning routine. Bel Air has welcomed Mr. Warren Kalute, aka Chef Warren of Holy Juice, an incredible juice bar right at the Bel Air Glen Center. Also in this issue, Mr. Kim Vo, known as the best blonder in the business. No matter what celebrity he's working with, he always goes back to his roots. A special shout out to Ms. Lillian Garcia, who I had the honor to interview for the previous cover of Focus magazine. Part of her empowering tribe is From Music to Mindset with Arden Kaylin and Greg Sims with a practical goal-setting technique. And Elizabeth Winkler contributed a very empowering piece from Laura Wasser, who is changing the face with divorce because it's over easy. Also featured fellow TV host Ms. Lisa Torres, who's empowering us to live a very high vibe life. And not all heroes wear capes, and we're proud to feature Focus TV family member Ms. Sally Colon, the filmmaker behind Women Like Us documentary. And our travel editor, Ms. Wendy Brokaw, contributed a great piece about a chic hotel in the desert. Empowering us all to crack the code on social media, our friend, Ms. Emily Raber. And it was an honor to celebrate the 45th Annual Daytime Television Awards. It was conscious conversation and red carpets, an epic week of glamour and giving back. I had the honor of interviewing some of the most prominent people and personalities in daytime television. A special thanks to Mr. Kent Speakman and Connect TV for partnering with Good Morning LaLa Land to empower us and entertain us. It's all empowerment in this issue of Focus magazine. We are the only magazine in the country that offers a full video library to complement our print features. Your favorite interviews are also available as a podcast on iTunes. I'm Jessamine Moyer, and for all of the entertainment, enlightenment, and empowerment we share today, don't miss the latest issue of Focus magazine.
Welcome back live from Los Angeles. We are so honored to have Rebecca Fearing in the house. She is considered one of the world-renowned psychic, clairvoyants, and healers.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being
Oh
here
my
today.
God, this is so amazing. I'm having so much fun.
Right? So we have had you on the show before, and we wanted to bring you back because a few things. We know that you believe everyone has psychic abilities, and I believe that as well. And so let's tap into that. What does that mean? How can people know when they're having a psychic experience, when they're tapping into intuition? What does this look like?
Well,
for
I call
people?
it caveman intuition because I tell people, how do you think we got to where we are in modern man? Because we use that initially to get to where we are now with being mobile, with tapping into technology. All the things that we have now did not exist in the ancient man, right? And when modern man came, they wanted to tell you that it was associated to the dark arts, which is not true at all. You can do any profession with evil purposes, right? So we have a gland on the top of our head. It's called the pineal gland. It is where we get our psychic ability from. Everybody has it.
Trying to tap into that right now.
Tap in that
It's
gland.
like
Top
right
of your
in the
head,
middle
right?
of the brain. If you go right to the third eye, right?
And this is how I say I'm writing a book, and it's called How to Develop the Power of Intuition. And it's really for the regular person or anybody that wants to read it. Doesn't mean you have to be a professional psychic. Because doctors I've trained, lawyers, I've worked with crime, and it really is a tool even when you're raising children, anything really, your daily life, right? I find that very highly creative people are psychic. They've actually done tests on that. And so what I say to you, you know how you think you're going to lose your keys and then you do? Pay attention. You get that thought, don't be paranoid, be proactive, put them in a place you're not going to lose them. Or you think, I shouldn't go down that street. Well, don't be paranoid again, and maybe don't go down that street. Does that make sense to you guys?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I have that feeling all of the time. And then I talk myself out of it and I think, oh, you're just being crazy. That's all in your head.
Right.
And then every single time something happens.
sure.
Well, the thing is you have to learn to trust your own intuition. It's not, people will say, oh, psychics are working with the devil. That's so ridiculous, okay?
Yeah.
Or, oh, you're crazy. Well, maybe I'm a bit crazy because I am out of the box, and it's okay, okay? Not in the contents of mental illness, just crazy enough to be able to say, hey, I can do this or this. And it's proven. I'm not just making up stories, you know?
So when I'm working with a client and I'm having them develop their intuition, a lot of time I'll have them jot down those times that they felt that gut intuition and then go back and look at it. Like where was that right or wrong, and begin to develop it like a muscle. But for me, what happened when I realized that there was this ability really happened when I was doing a lot of subconscious work and healing trauma.
Right.
And then what happened is we started going to past life stuff. And the person I was working with would say, almost it's like imagination. So you start like imagining a picture that you're feeling, and it's almost like a wormhole for the vortex of into your psyche. And all of a sudden, I would be in a place within my past experience of a past life, and it would be more real than anything going on right here. And that's when I knew, and I could tap in and facts would start coming
Right.
through. And then I'd start confirming it through Google, through actual like history things. And I'd be
Right.
like, what, how did I know that? Like it was bizarre.
Well,
It
because
was
you can
really
do
bizarre.
that. And also, they've proven now that through your cells in your body, there's a name for it, that you remember your ancestors' story.
For sure, absolutely.
So you might be,
Wow.
well, I like when you're talking about post-traumatic syndrome or trauma in somebody's life. Somebody might have been to every psychologist and psychiatrist in the world. Now, I'm not saying that's not relevant. I have told people I'm not the person for you. You have to go to a conventional medical professional and then come back. But I look and I'll see, wow, you're not exposing that you've been traumatized, a lot of times sexually. Now they'll say, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I said, don't be embarrassed. I see it. I get it. I know how to get you to where you need to go and go to the right professional to help you work through it. So a lot of times people are very embarrassed and they don't want to talk about it. Also, flip side, I have a man sat down. I said, I'm alone with him. I went to Arizona to do a readings, and I sometimes would use like a hotel, right? You have a hotel room. I'm sitting there alone with him. I look at him and I say, I know you raped her. I know why you did it. Your mother's here. I know your story. I know you're going to jail. I'm not judging you. Let's talk about how to do what you have to do your time, get through it, don't repeat it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Now he looked like a normal person. You know, I've had others like that too. Many stories. And so what I'm saying now to you guys out there in the audience and you guys, let's use it. Let's not put labels on it. Just know it's genetically programmed in us to be able to use this. When you feel a hunch or you have a dream, and say you have a dream, this is hard, but you have a dream, oh my God, I had a dream that my father had a heart attack. Now you're not going to go and scare your father, but you might say to your father, look, I had this dream. Have you gone to the doctor, a medical professional, to check your heart lately? I had a girl come in. She said, Rebecca, I feel so guilty because I dreamt my father had a heart attack and I didn't tell him, and he had a heart attack and died. So I was able, as a medium, to connect to him. And then I said, don't worry, we're not trained in this society to be able to utilize that tool that we all have, right? Whether it's your dream, whether you want to call it gut instinct, whether you have, like me, you'll hear, like, I hear people talking and people say, oh, you hear voices. No, that's not exactly what this is. I actually am multidimensional and I can hear them talking to me. But you might be somewhere and hear your name called. Heed, you know, say, whoa, maybe I need to pay attention. I had a woman come in my house. She called out my name in the hallway. She said, Rebecca, there's a man in the window. She had an Israeli accent. I get it. My son watches me. Sure enough, there's a man in the window, picture, and it says, can I come in? I go, heck no, get out of here. I'm going to call 911. But you know what? I did not know he was there, and I was warned. So people don't, it's not like what you see in scary movies, okay? Look for auras. The lighter, the brighter, the better. Deep emotions, just deep things. A gut instinct, I feel, I don't like this person for some reason. You can't verbalize it or you feel dark energy around them, right? You always acknowledge it. You can't always verbalize it though.
Oh, that's important.
So let's talk about the things that people do criticize psychics about, right? One is that thinking that it will implant in the future. So if you say you are going to whatever have success in London, like you said to me, I might think, oh well, I'm gonna have success in London, so I'm gonna be focusing on that anyway and manifest that anyway, right? Whether that was regardless, right? So implanting the future, good or bad. And then the other is thinking of psychics might read from the subjective mind, meaning what are our beliefs and what are we out picturing? But is it true? Like, in your opinion, do we have infinite possibility in the future, or is there a destined future from what is out picturing from
Well,
us?
it's a little complicated because as psychic as I am and how blessed I am, I've had great tragedy. And without this tool and without physical evidence of the divine, I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys. It is, again, a long story. But this is my thing. People often ask me, are you mind reading? No. I don't know how to mind read. There are mind readers, but I don't do that. I'm not capable of doing that, okay? Have I had telepathy with somebody before? Yeah, that's totally different. That's physical conversation without anybody hearing it but you and that person. That does exist.
Oh man, I've had some of those.
Rob and
Doesn't
I
I
do
have
that.
this all the time?
No, really.
Yeah.
From the moment I met Rob, we have this. I always felt like I'd known Erin forever,
Right.
but Rob and I have this telepathic
Yeah.
connection.
Right.
He just looks
It's
at
so
me and I look
wild,
at him.
yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, and I think until you experience it, you don't understand it. Or if you do experience it, you poo-poo it off because of the negative, people have theories about psychics, and a lot of it's negative, but it's a lot of that's not relevant to legitimate people who are psychic. Well, I was born this way. I had this gentleman said, "Oh, Rebecca, I really like you, and I'd like to go out with you, but can you kind of change what you do?" I go, "Can I change my genetic coding?" I don't think so, dude. Okay,
Wow, I
so
love that.
bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but the thing is, I think we need to be educated a little bit better. We need to know that with this gift, if you call it a gift and you use it as so, that you have the responsibility to be conscious of how you partake or how you give out what you're giving out, so you don't traumatize a person. But do I put you in a place where I'm controlling you because of what I told you? No, because we have free will. I had a woman, I said, I'm not going to say who she is, I said, "Okay, you're going to win an Oscar in 2 months." She goes, "No, I'm not." "Okay, yes, you are. It's your time to shine. Get a great dress, because we're about the same size. You can't get it off the rack. And you want to be beautiful when you're up there getting your Oscar." She won. And she won in 2
Wow.
months.
Wow.
It could be somebody that says that they're never open a company or a store. They're not going to amount to anything. And I will give them all the tools. Now it's up to you. You take what I gave with you and run with it. Many, many success stories, and also in love. But sometimes we have to go back to, you said, the past lives to see what the hang-ups are. And it is amazing what we've been able. If I get a woman or a man in my office, which I call past lifers, they are in relationships with people from their past lives, and they can't get over them. Then it becomes obsession, possession, depression. That's where the past life regressionist comes in,
Yeah.
and can help break the spell, because people will kill themselves over this. You see, so it's not just what you think. You come in, I'm like, "Oh, let me see your future. Let me light 10 candles for." No, it's not that. Okay? No, it's that, "Oh, you have a curse on you." No, that's not what this is. This is not anything that I chose to do. It pretty much chose me. And it's been amazing when I've taught people how to use their psychic ability, what they've told me. Because we're all connected.
For
See,
sure.
so first look for the colors of people. The lighter, the brighter. Deep colors, deep emotions. You're feeling dark. Maybe there's something wrong, right? Then if you're having a name in your head, like, "Oh, why has my friend Jane in my head?" Just call her, call her, call her, call her. But usually the people beat me to the punch. I go, "Oh, I was just going to call you." Okay, so if you feel like your tire's bad on your car, go check your tire out. If you feel, well, my child doesn't look sick, but you don't want to be paranoid, but let me take a little look. You'd be surprised, by using it properly and ethically, and responsibility is connected to this, that what amazing life that you can have.
So interesting to me, all of it. And I think the question that occurs to me is, like, when you get an intuitive feeling, what is it that you're tapping into? Is it like tapping into infinite intelligence? You're tapping into what the other person is feeling? You're tapping into angelic?
Well,
like, how do you
all of
sort
it.
of
All
discern?
of it. Because I have this ability to become you for a minute. I am you for a minute. And being you, I can feel what you feel. I think we're all able to do it. I'm kind of an expert at that. I'm an expert at remote viewing. Okay, so, and I'm a just practicing. The more I did it, the better I got. And so I think, and my ability to not be afraid what I say, what I see. Now, there's a flip side to this. I had a woman come into my office. She was going to go on vacation. I said, "I wouldn't go to that place if I were you, because it's dangerous for a single woman to go into that location. I feel danger." She was paying me. She didn't want to hear it, really. And I said, "Please take what I said to heart." She didn't come back. She got murdered in the place I said. And her sister found my card in her car and called me. And they had been not talking for a couple of years, but I was able to give them some closure, because of this. Now, did I want to have to go through that? No. What kind of responsibility? Could I have saved her? Could I have yelled? Could I have screamed, say, "Please don't go, don't go, don't go"? And this isn't the first time something like that happened to me. So you're saying, do you put that thought in somebody's head? No, I was trying to protect her. And I'm not God. I had to say, "Look, I'm not God. She came here. I gave her the information. It is hers to do what she wants with it, or he does with it," right? So the life of a psychic is, you have so much responsibility, and you have to be resilient, right?
So true.
And I have divine intervention. I have been able to prove heaven exists, or in multi-dimensions. But I want to tell you guys, everybody has it. I'm not that special. I just we don't work alone. We have people helping us. I know I have a team. I've proven that now. So the thing is, you guys use it, you use it, you use it. You have it so strong, okay? You're getting there, okay? And you're
Who knows where
analytical.
Rob is? He's lost.
No, you have it, but you also, believe it or not, in one of your lifetimes was also a doctor. So there's a little bit about you with the healer and the medicine man and the doctor. So it's interesting. I don't know if you have any Native American blood, but
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
bunch of it coming towards you.
Mm.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, I see that all around you. And that's the tapping into the spiritual, the healer. You know, the Native American people knew so much about this stuff. So it's interesting when I go deep into you and who I see who you are. You know, you might have olive skin and people say, oh, he's African American. I'm like, no, he's a lot of things, okay? He's Native American. He's, yeah, maybe African American, but there's so many things that I see rather than the pigmentation of your skin. You see what I mean? So when we really connect to each other like that, we can see into each other's layers, which makes us being able to be more compassionate to others. Right? But you can't be compassionate to your detriment either. Now, if I'm in a dangerous situation, then I have to get street smart, right? I acknowledge it, but then I get like a warrior. And I've been plenty, I was kidnapped before in Switzerland. So I have had many experiences that most people would like, you know, not be here.
Wow.
So, you know, when you look at my life experiences and you look at my psychic ability, it's a pretty interesting story, but I think we all have an interesting story also, right?
So
Absolutely.
Right.
So for someone coming to you and say they have, because most people want answers in their love, in their business, and in their health.
Right.
What are they, like, for someone to come to you, because there's so many options, like say in business, what we're expressing here and where this is going to go. Someone would come to you because they want to have direction or confirmation, or what would it be that
Well,
they'd be really
you have to
coming
remember
for?
that I'm not using my own opinion. I'm tapping into my psychic ability, which
Got
is very different. I take my opinion out of it. And I hear a lot of times the names. So I'll say, you know, Steve, that boss you're working with, blah, 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 blah. Or you know that woman that's over there, she's got a back pain, she's not feeling well, and you should be conscious of being able to deal with that instead of letting her come to work sick and getting in a car accident. Okay, so what I'll do is I get very detailed orientated. I give the information. For example, this man came into my office and he was being very kind of rude to me about something that, he was very rude to me about something that horrible happened into my life. Horrible. And he said, well, if you're so psychic, why did that event happen to you? And I go, well, because I'm not God, and when I get up there with God, I'll ask God. But by the way, your employee is stealing from you, and I'll tell you why and how, because I don't just accuse people. And I said, it's not good karma for her because you're letting her create good karma because I don't care about money. I go, yes, you do, because you just insulted me and then asked me for a big discount. So you know what you need to do? You need to go over there, take care of the problem, so you will not get her to have that bad karma. And he came back, he apologized to me, and he took care of the situation.
All right, you go, girl.
That's power.
Well, because somebody else would probably punch him in the face, okay? But I'm
She's a
like, no.
badass psychic, okay?
Yeah. Right, so you might have a scenario like that, you know. I've had somebody come into my office and also she was extremely insulting. And I said, I'm not for you, you're not for me. I don't need your money, bye-bye.
Right.
And I said, go. And I'm not somebody who likes to do that. I'll leave people that know me. I'll take hours to get to you and do what you need from me. But there has been time where I have to be a warrior.
I love that.
Right.
Well, we have a little surprise that we were thinking we want you to do maybe after the break. We have a very special guest in the house that we think is very special, very tapped in, and has brought already so many gifts to the world. But we were wondering if maybe you'd do like a little.
Yes, of
You want
course.
to see if there's something there?
Of
Okay,
course.
good. So excited about that. So
But I have to tell you something.
Please.
Okay. I'm going to take just a couple of
we
minutes.
can take as long as you
Yeah.
want. We're
Okay.
here. We love your work. So.
And of course, I'm going to be considerate of your emotions and respectful. But you're an amazing person, and I know that you went through a breakup and it was very painful for you. But this person had been, as we call past lifers, a past life person. You had to connect to disconnect. See what I mean? But it wasn't a mistake that you guys were together or bonded in that relationship. Most likely you know people like this even before you date them. Does that make sense to you?
I feel completely drawn.
Right. So there's you remember him as a heart and soul connection. Now he can be one of the ones, but he won't be the only one. Does that make sense? Your only
Absolutely.
one hasn't come yet. Now, you will not have to worry about being married or being in love or having that beautiful wedding because it will happen for you. It's up to you whether you want to do beautiful, intimate, or grand. I don't know, but it was nice. I saw it already. Your dress, some else, okay?
We want invites.
Absolutely.
I actually have been invited to many weddings that I predicted. So, and I know it's hard, you know, when you love somebody and you feel connected and you remember them maybe as your husband or your lifelong partner, and then you meet and you get all your hopes, and then wow, boom, bang, what happened, right?
What happened?
Yeah, what happened? But in your case, it was a blessing in disguise to get you there, to see him, to remember him, to connect again, and then say, okay, this might not be the way it's going to be this time, and not to lose hope, not to lose your direction, and don't get sad. You can express your emotions because we have to, but then carry on.
Thank you.
Because
for
your
that.
man, ooh la la.
What do I need to do? What do I need to do to open that door?
This is a pink. Light pink is the color for love.
So beautiful.
Okay.
And it is also it's red is sexy, but love is the one, right? I go look friendship into love, love into in love to emotional intimacy. Unfortunately, in that relationship, even though it seemed like there was emotional intimacy, your cup would have gotten it would have been empty, not full. You see what I mean? So what we want is emotional intimacy, then sensual, sexual. Men, you'll never be a day without, hanky panky, and a little fantasy, because then you trust the person, right? You're not saying, oh, you're using me, or I'm pissed off because you didn't take the trash out. Okay, so it's friendship into love, love into in love to emotional intimacy, then sensual, sexual, fantasy. Circle around to the courtship. Let him court you.
Okay.
So there was a small problem in that relationship because the emotional intimacy wasn't quite there, which would then would have turned into a problem, possibly in a marriage. So, he's a good person. You're a wonderful person. But you know what? You want your partner's best to be up to your standards. Does that make sense?
Completely. I'll just keep wearing pink.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Okay,
channel
this
him
is
in.
my formula. Light pink, sea salt bastard scrubs. Take a dance class. Dance opens up all of the heart chakra.
Okay.
Right? And then just have complete confidence in yourself. And have fun. Go out, do things that are interesting. Be open to meeting and greeting or being set up, and you'll find your love. Believe me, I see it around you.
So wonderful.
And
Thank
your
you,
ring was
Rebecca.
beautiful. Your dress was beautiful. And the most important thing, he was somebody who would run out to CVS for you in the middle of the night. If he rubs your feet, you'll rub his back. And he had a really good sense of humor and a bit of a cook.
Oh. I'm really excited.
Yes.
We'll take any of your insight. Don't let me block any of the insight. It's inspirational.
Right.
here.
So thank you for letting me read you.
Thank you
And
so
earlier
much.
we talked about the connection to Ohio. When she was, you definitely have a connection to Ohio too. And
do.
yeah, it's very interesting. And I do too. I know yours is Florida, but who knows where we all might be connected to each other.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
What's your connection to Ohio?
Well, don't you want to know? You have to read it in my book, Erin. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more on Good Morning La La Land.
Welcome back live from Los Angeles. We are going to have a fun segment right now. So we have Sebastian from Il Divo.
That's right.
Okay,
Il
guys,
Divo. It worked. Good job.
very famous singer-songwriter, producer. And then we have one of the world-renowned psychic clairvoyants, Rebecca Fearing. And we thought it'd be fun to do a
Are you
little
nervous?
segment on her because she's been so incredibly talented. Like, she is just like calling things out. We're like, whoa, what's up with this? So we thought that might be a little fun to just have a little play around reading right
Yes,
here.
absolutely, if you're open.
It's like having a
Good.
surgery.
Good.
But it's painless, I heard.
Dissect you. No.
That's right.
Okay. The very first thing that I've noticed about you is that you have high psychic ability like I do. It runs in your family. I remember when you first sat next to me when I first met you, I kept getting a lot of stuff about France. I thought it was Sam, but it was you. But the thing that I noticed about you that you think a lot like I do. So you might be much more talented in the performance of music and writing music, but you have a lot of red energy with a huge purple streak like a fountain of light coming through your being. Now, you met and married the right person because she can understand, she can get it. Where there's compatibility, wouldn't be too many arguments. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's true, but that's what I see, right? Sometimes we're not going to be Siamese twins, but for the most part, I think high compatibility is in this relationship. I know that I saw 3 kids, which you verified, right? three
That's true.
children, right?
That's
There's not a little fourth try to get in there, but the three are now, you know. Be
Okay.
proactive. And I do feel that one of your children will probably have the same musical talent as you. I mean, they all do, but one more than the other. This is where I'm having a hard time because I know you have the three children. You have a son?
I have 2 sons.
You do have. Okay. It's the taller of the two for now that I see. And a very interesting child that thinks like you. One of your boys thinks almost like a scientist because he's looking at nature and all kinds of interesting things. You know what I'm talking about?
Totally.
Yeah. So you would let him maybe do trips where he can look at nature. What is this? The Galapagos Islands would be fun for him, or interactive museums where he could touch things and look at things. So you and your little girl, she's amazing, you know, so pretty, beautiful, real beauty. And she has a quick mind also, kind of a creative mind. I see her telling stories in her head. So you've got an interesting brood there, and fun and very, very lively. Let's put it that way.
Oh, yes.
But you can be lively too, so that's a good thing, right?
Absolutely.
Now, I do feel very strongly that, have you, and this has nothing to do with love, of course, you're married, but have you ever known a woman named Gretchen? Or Gretel, something like that?
No.
You might meet this person that's musically inclined, also business orientated. So keep the name. It sounds something like that,
Gretel.
almost German, but something similar. And that could be somebody you want to collaborate with, possibly, but use your intuition on those, any collaborations. I see Sweden, and I see a songwriter through Sweden coming to you, collaborating possibly, or wanting to contact. But have you been to Sweden? Do you, I mean,
Yeah, this is a place I've been often, but not met Gretel yet.
yeah, you will. You'll be like, oh, I know who you're talking about.
I'll
Right.
be like, I already know you.
Yeah. Maurice,
Let me tell you your story.
Yeah. Makes
I
you
heard
want
it.
to do business, yeah. But Sweden's calling your name, and I know there's songwriters out of Sweden, but it's very strong around you, so don't be surprised if that comes around this time. Now, you haven't even gotten to your greatest talent yet. You've done some amazing work, don't get me wrong, right? Beautiful, inspiring. And you were talking about healing. Healing is like one of your fortes also, because music trans all dimensions. And I work with music and doing healing. Traumatic brain injuries really do well with music, right? And so you're on a higher level than just, oh, I write music, I'm a songwriter. No, you're on a spiritual level that's really high. But you can still be grounded so that you're not weird. I hate to say that. You know what I mean? It's
I'm
like
weird too. It's totally fun.
But it's like, so you haven't reached your greatest heights, you know, so that's amazing. That's really fun, right? And then your father. I see a lot about your dad around you. Now, I thought he was alive, right? Your father is in this.
He is in this world.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
But I know, I was going to tell you. Now, that might be, are you okay with me talking about things, exposing things, but not in a
That's
negative
what
way?
we're here for.
Okay, good. Because the disconnect comes with the paternal figure. And, but because you were his father many times and you were a little harsh on him. So he goes, okay, I'm going to be his dad. See how that goes. Well, it didn't go too good. So I'm saying that he loves you. He gives you great genetics, but he can't express so well all of that. Does that mean anything to you?
Sure.
Yeah. And he's been thinking a lot about you lately. So I don't know if you want to reach out or not, but he's definitely, you know, he has, when he lets himself be himself, you know, and he can laugh, he's kind of funny. I don't know if you know that about your father, because there's so many things about him that he doesn't talk about. You know, he doesn't express himself. So if you see him, go deeper into not the title of father, but who he is as an individual soul. And then you'll say, thank you for the gift of life. Maybe the paternal role, maybe that's not your forte. Okay, you're used to being something different, like my son. Okay, and I will tell you, I had this woman come once, and I could not connect her and her mother at all. Not one thing can I connect those two. And I said, just look at it like this, so you don't get upset. She's like the taxi, and you just hitched a ride in her womb, and then you got out. So you can thank her for that, for the seed of life, and move forward. So with your father, you have to look in the layers and layers. You were definitely a Roman soldier. Oh my God, I just saw you so clearly.
Oh, what?
You were a Roman soldier.
Oh.
Yes, and it may have been in the times of Christ.
Wow.
That's why the connection to the divine is intact. So through life experiences, you have a deeper understanding for maybe about people or more about our how to say our genetic makeup than most people, because you lived it. You lived these interesting times. So have you ever
Wow.
felt connected to anything with Italy or Rome or Catholic or Catholicism at all?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw you. I was like, where they were, they had like this.
I didn't have the six pack.
No, you actually
Yes,
did.
yes.
Yeah, you had it, and you had nice legs.
Thank you, darling.
And you were very connected, actually, in a higher, like, you were a higher ranking soldier. You might have been connected to, I know my history a little bit, but it seemed like Caesar or something. So you were definitely an interesting soul, but you always had a consciousness about right and wrong. And you didn't kill to kill. You only had to kill if it was necessary, which sounds brutal, but part of your job. But you
I
didn't like
killed.
it. Yeah.
Well,
But you had to. It was life or death. And if you were being attacked, you had no recourse. You had a wife and children you need to get home to. So, but you have now been a peacemaker. You're not somebody who wants to be, not that you wouldn't be a good soldier, but I don't think you had to do that this lifetime, though you would have if you had to. And I think music brings peace of mind to all kinds of people, including soldiers.
wow.
Yes, I don't know if you've ever done any work with vets or.
I tried to escape military, which I did. I just really didn't want to go and learn anything about weapons. I'm against guns and all this.
Right, because you'd already done it. You've lived it.
That's
And
interesting.
you weren't comfortable with it, but you had no choice. It was what was presented to you. And you became a warrior.
Wow.
Now you're a warrior, but you don't have to use weapons like that.
I'm a warrior of love. Like
Yeah.
for me, the weapon is love. Like
Yeah.
really.
And passing that around and inspiring people. Heaven is full of music and entertainment. God has a very good sense of humor, thank goodness. And to tell you the truth,
Right.
I do this
For
thing
sure.
out of everybody's comfort zone. I can do this with technology. Believe it. It
Oh,
sounds
really?
crazy, but it's real. So I decide, oh, well, if I can call your mom and I can call your dad and I can call everybody on the cell phone, I think I can call God. So I did this in Dupars, which isn't there now, on Ventura Boulevard. They just closed. And I said, come on, let's just do it. I think I can do it. And believe it or not, I got a message. And he said, thank you, Rebecca. This is not the first time I've heard my name. And God is like this really approachable guy. I think it's a guy, okay?
Wow.
And he's not like a booming voice or scary. He's like a really nice guy. Like you would be comfortable with if you had a good dad or your grandfather or a counselor, teacher that you love. And so, yes, that's why I know there is definitely a higher being. And you know that too, because we
Yeah,
all
for
do.
sure.
We just kind of forget. And it isn't about any particular religion. It is about one thing, love.
Love is the only truth.
And a lot of people think that you have to suffer because of it. It can't be to your detriment. You have to be a little bit street smart, who your circle of people are. But see, you're a global because your love was supposed to go global, not just one little area or one nightclub. Or not that that's not important, but global is important. And each one of you have a global message in your own way.
Well, Spirit wants to connect us, and hence everything that's happening technology-wise and everything else.
Right. Oh, it's amazing. I'm bridging the gap. And it is amazing. It's shocking, but it's real. It'll be normal in the future, and you will, I'm telling you, Germany is coming off of you so strong. So don't be surprised if you have
Wow.
something in Berlin, I think, and that will be coming up. And it'll be amazing. You also be asked to be in a world event where there's lots of artists to, it'll be worth your time to go. And your children will travel many places with you and your wife, and you'll always be a little team there, so which is really good. And I don't know where I'm going to talk about soccer, but I see you. I see
Wow.
you. Have you ever met somebody who's like famous soccer player?
We sang for the World Cup.
Oh,
For sure, we've met quite a few.
yeah, because I thought I felt what is the one, Beckham?
I've never met him.
Yeah, I think you will.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, so if you're listening, you guys are going to meet. Yeah, and you just have so many adventures in front of you. But your music is not the norm, and it is the way that how the vibrations of your music really transcends all dimensions.
Globally.
Globally,
Yeah,
universally.
Universally,
For
believe
sure.
me, because it crosses dimensions because of the vibrations. It's like
Oh,
a radio
yeah,
wave,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I believe in vibrations for sure.
And I don't know if you've ever done anything with a cello or more some almost orchestra-like. Have you
Yeah,
been thinking about?
that's my next project.
There you go.
I must be
Something more in that vibe. Yeah.
sort of
so-
like that, those kind of string instruments and wind. Yeah, it's going to be really amazing, and you'll give yourself the chills. So I'll be excited to see it and to purchase it. And people that aren't feeling well, they should definitely use it as a healing tool too. I mean, you can't say, "Oh, my music healed you," but you can know from me that may be true.
It's funny because I have always had the dream that I could bring music and water and light together, because I believe these are three sources.
Right,
You know,
they're
that
all-
are so. I mean, we're born from our mothers, and you know, in a liquid
Womb.
environment.
Yeah.
So I always thought like light, water, and sound should be combined like a center for healing or recovery or something.
Have the smaller boy, your son, work with you on that science project.
Yeah, finding the location
And
of
the other
that.
one can play the music.
That's awesome.
And your daughter can dance.
That's it.
It's a family
So
affair.
there you
We
go.
got it.
Okay, good. Well, this
got
is so fun. It's so
Thank
fun to
you.
have a reading and knowing that, you know, we all know our own truth inside at some level. And it's great to have confirmation, great to have a community that believes and know that it's all spirituality. The reality is that we're from spirit. So
Right.
thank you so much for everything. And we're going to come right back and have another interview here. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Live back from Los Angeles, we have singer, songwriter, producer, and composer, Sebastian. How was that reading? Holy cow. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that was pretty intense, right?
Interesting, isn't it?
Interesting.
It was
Fascinating.
amazing. No, it's fantastic to have people that have such gift to be able to be vulnerable and just, you know, say whatever comes out.
Was there one? Sorry, go ahead, Jess.
Oh no, it's okay. I just wanted to say I love how clear her vision was for you, that you need to be spreading and that you have the ability to spread love globally through your music. It is healing. And I knew that listening just to your song, but to have that validation, what does that feel like?
It's love. It's wonderful. I mean, you know, I always find it tricky. I mean, like receiving love is always a bit of a tricky thing for me, right? I get a bit like, oh my God, I'm not allowed to receive that love. But then allowing myself, giving myself permission to really receive it feels, wow, just overwhelming and just beautiful, actually.
I feel like you don't even just receive it, you channel it through you,
Definitely,
right?
right?
Thank
so
you.
when we were, you know, we communicated, having you on the show, one thing that I thought was profound was when you posted, you said, I really want to talk about, you were excited about talking something about beyond music. And music is everything. It's transcending through your whole life, and how can it not be your story? But you talked about your awakening story and about women's empowerment.
Oh, yes.
What does that mean to you? What do you want to talk about when it comes
Sure. So my spiritual awakening has given me the light that I've always had once in my life and was diminished by traumas, and I have regained or recovered or reborn into the human being that I was always, with love. I think we all are born with principle. We know when it's wrong. We have a feeling when it's wrong. What's kindness? What's love? I think everybody's born with those principles. It's just about refining them and actually, oh yeah, I've tuned into those principles again. I know what it is. So for me, it's about recovering or rediscovering who I always was. And that gives me inspiration for myself. And I feel like, wow, then I can inspire the world, because I feel like the person in the street to a celebrity, I really don't care. For me, it's the same person.
Same.
I'm not into the show business. I must tell you, I'm not here to sell anything. I'm just here to say, you know, I believe in love, and that's what we all carry inside of us. We are all loved and all love, and that's what I'm here for.
So you had success very young in life, right? So I mean, most kids, we come in, we're, you know, there's very few children they're mostly just happy and joyful and whatever, and then something happens, some trauma or something happens, or limiting beliefs come in, and they have their spirit kind of suppressed, repressed, if you
Right.
will. And so, you know, I don't know how much you want to get into that, what your trauma was, what
Sure.
people connect by knowing our trauma experiences generally. We all have intense stories when you get down to the heart of it. What was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, the exact nature of what happened at home, I'm just going to leave it at home, because by respectfulness to my parents, you know, that's their story. And my story is I felt like a victim, right, all my life, nevertheless. And as a kid, I felt powerless over some things that happened at home. And what had happened for me is I created a whole world of lies, of fantasies, so that I can protect myself from a reality. And music became an escape for me, you know, I was very introverted. I didn't have much friends. I created a world. I had a fake brother that never existed. I mean, crazy stuff. But it helped me to escape that difficulty of my life. What I've realized as growing up, that went against me all the time, you know. I had to be in control of my life then to survive. But then what I didn't understand is I didn't have to be in control later on. You know, it was okay to let go of the past, but I was holding on to the past, and that was not giving me possibilities in my life to go any further. And blaming others was my number one specialty. And you know,
easy to do.
I've been really
it's
good
easy,
at that time in my life,
easy
for
to be a
sure.
victim, the guy that goes through the light and let me go through, wow, and screaming. But I just realized that was not helpful in my life, because that didn't give me the opportunity to open my heart. There was nothing there. Like, it was just stuck. And being able to shift that around, forgiving, you know, people, and I've realized that actually the one that I was not taking care of is myself. The one that I was not loving was myself. Everything has to come first from within myself. How can I possibly love anybody if I don't love myself? And that was the case.
So here you were in your 20s, having all the success with a Devo, and you were kind of dying inside. Is that kind of how it looked?
Actually, I wasn't, but I was starving for being loved from others. It's a bit like everybody's got their own bucket with love, and I was like chipping in, you know, like stealing it. There's a really good book I love for my kids about, I can't remember the name, I'll find it, but about people stealing, you know, feelings and people's bucket like that. And it's true that I was unable to create that self-love. So I believe through my career is about being loved and adored, but actually quite frankly, I don't need anybody to be loved. I need to love myself, you know, and it feels so much more true and generous. For me, it's the service, you know, I keep talking about service, helping others is where I feel my life purpose is, you know, that's where I feel like my growth is. It's not about just being selfish,
For sure.
but if I can't give that to myself first, I can't give it to anybody.
It is fascinating. The celebrity world is interesting because I've worked with, you know, some really big celebrities, and a lot of them were first driven by insecurity. They were driven to try and seeking that love and seeking that validation. It's very common, and I do think that it's a really miraculous thing when someone has healed that, and then they're able to keep going out there in the world. And it's so cool to witness your journey and how now you have music all about love, and that's where it really is.
All we need is love.
Right?
The Beatles said that once, and it's true. That's as simple as that. You know, keep it simple. I did a TV show. We did numerous TV shows in Mexico for our new record out with our band. El Divo, Timeless is the name of the record. And there was a lady like backstage in a big TV studio, and she was cleaning the TV studio, and I could tell she loved the band, but she didn't know how to you know, ask for a picture. But everyone has all the presenters, you know, they all take the pictures and number of followers, and I don't buy into this. I don't like this. And I went to see her, and I said, can I get a picture with you?
Aww.
And she gave me, and it's on my Instagram, and she gave me the biggest smile in the world, and it was so authentic and real. That was the most beautiful day ever for me, like, because there's something about being true and authentic. It's not driven by money or record sales or anything like that. And you know, I think when I do this in my life with intention to be true in the day, just the gifts are just amazing. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more after the reading. We had a break for a minute, and we talked about how you were talking about how you really want to bring fun back to your own life, because we lose kind of that
Right.
childhood fun. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I've discovered that through my journey that, as I said, being a child, that was dangerous for me, and I tend to think that I forgot that I used to also have fun as a
Right.
child.
Oh, yeah, we
so I
forgot.
attached trauma.
Yeah, I forgot that too.
I attached trauma to childhood. And then I realized, like, my family, you know, I said, we keep trying new things. So we play bowling as a family, and or, you know, dress up the way that you're not normally meant to dress up, or anything that's outside the box. The way that I see brain is like an elastic. The more you stretch it, the more it grows. It creates new neural pathways. And I find the brain the most fascinating thing. And for me, when I implement fun into my life, which I call top lines, then I find that it sends the right message to my brain. And it's all about positivity. Here it seems to be all the case, right? And it's all about that, training the brain to have fun again, because fun was dangerous back then. But then, getting into adulthood, you have to pay the bills, you have to do this, you have to do that,
There's
driving.
no time for fun. And even as an adult, I'll feel guilty. I was like, ooh, I had too much fun. I should have gotten X, Y, and Z done, right? Like,
But see
I
how
was having fun.
See how the brain functions? That's what is amazing. I don't have time. So we become the victim of time, but time is in our hand, or how busy we are. And the truth, and that's kind of what I was saying about the nerd. The nerd is telling me BS. I can create time. I can have less commitments. I can make the time.
So wait, tell who's watching, what nerd? You're saying a nerd?
But my nerd is, I call it my brain, that part of the
Okay.
brain that says, I'm not good enough, or,
He's
oh my
such a
God,
nerd.
like,
Yeah, right?
the time's
I
going
like
too
that.
fast, oh, my kids did this, or my wife took an appointment, or, it's
awesome.
everyone else's
I
fault,
love
or it's always the fault of something, or, oh no, I can't. That's the craziest thing. Often when I say to my wife, let's do that, or my kid says, oh no, we can't. I say, yes, we can. There is nothing in the world that says we can't. I mean, when we know it's wrong, right? But I'm talking about, for example, skydiving, right? I'm scared of heights, like horrible, but that's on my bucket list. I'm gonna do it because that's my stretch. I have to, why? Because it's related to fears, and how I'm gonna overcome my fears is to not listen to my nerd. It's death. It's always coming back to death.
I have
I'm
a
not
genius
gonna die.
and a nerd living in my
Yeah,
head.
that's it. It's like my best friend and my evil. It's like, yeah.
That's so great. So now what? So you've had obviously, total success. You've written some music that has touched, who knows, millions upon millions of people. You have 3 children, you have a beautiful wife, you live in Malibu. Like, what now?
That's a good question, right? And my nerd is never satisfied. I feel like for me, I would like to try this business idea, which would be to bring people on a journey for a weekend where they learn to have fun. And there's a follow-up after that. It's not just like, oh, you had fun, bye-bye. Where, people are looked after like a trainer, where they have to implement that into their lives. That's what I feel I can contribute to make a small difference in the community.
So you're saying you're going to create a whole new industry of fun trainers?
Yeah.
Okay,
I love
I
this.
love that.
We
Yeah,
happen
we're
to
in.
know a
We're in.
happiness expert.
Yeah.
Rob
I'm in on this. I'm all over this. Yes.
Yeah.
And he's the fit
The
guy,
partner.
so that's perfect. No, I feel like that's what people, if you had like a weekend and you can create connection with people, who one is in his office or the financial and the other one is an art guy, like creating new connections. Because what I find is I lose connections easily through being driven by work, social media. Social media, you're on the thing and posting and the followers and stuff.
I'm not having fun.
I know how
Exactly, and then you make friends, or
Right.
but what I'd like is to bring community together, right?
We
so
have
we don't lose
in
connection.
Spiritual Center I was involved for years. I used to go to this teen camp thing and oversee the teens, and they'd come for a long weekend or whatever, and they would do these fun games, bonding, connecting. I'm thinking, why don't we do this as adults? We
See?
want this just as much as teens. Seriously,
Because we don't give ourselves permission.
it's ridiculous.
It's all about I don't
Camp
give.
love.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yes.
no, let's do it.
And it's such a great point, Erin, and I love what you're saying. I love this business idea, and I think part of the challenge for a long time, which was a huge opportunity, is now being realized, is that there wasn't a whole lot of science and data to back up
Yep.
why fun was so important. And it's just critical. We find that the more people have fun, the more creative thinker, the better, more creative thinking they do, the more efficient and effective thinking they do, the quicker they solve problems, and the better their life turns out overall. But that data was, while it was maybe available, people weren't doing the studies, but now they have, and they are beginning to sort of realize and understand that. That's why you see big companies like Google and all these other huge companies that are making, inordinate sums of money, have dedicated time and space to people just having fun.
Right.
So in other words, I feel like your business is just
So good. So now we're
Yeah,
going to call
it's
it Camp Science of Fun.
brilliant.
Okay.
And
Science of fun.
Science of Fun and
Just
love.
brilliant.
And
Sign me up.
how crazy would it be if you go on a weekend, you don't know where you're going, you don't know what you're going to do, because the brain wants to know, is it safe? What am I going to do? Is it healthy? Is it going to be, so, but it's going to be healthy
Sounds
and
like a good
safe.
show.
But I think,
Guaranteed
something,
fun.
yeah, exactly, guaranteed fun, but to the unknown. So you don't know who you're going to have fun with.
I accept the challenge.
Yeah,
I would love
I knew it.
Sign me up.
That's
Sounds like
telepathy.
a great show too.
Yeah.
For people to remember and just view people having fun.
Yeah, be a kid again.
Right?
For kid or something.
I remember Albert Einstein saying something, of course I'm not going to get it perfectly, but he said something like, he discovered so much more through imagination than he ever did through logical and rational thinking. And I think that's a huge part of the play and the fun piece is that, you're able to tap into your imagination and all of a sudden you have access to ideas and you're able to connect with people in a way that you couldn't if you're always just being logical and rational and trying to figure, your problems out. So I just love this idea.
Yeah, I think it could be very healing, and same with people who have an illness or injuries or stuff like that. I think because we get caught into so much of that and we forget the fun part. And I think for me, that's really a way to break through my BS every day, right?
I feel
So
like that's
great.
what a lot of your music accomplishes too, right? I mean, I would imagine that when you're playing and when you're composing and producing, you must be having a ton of fun.
I mean, it's amazing. Like sharing music, with people that come and pay and your tickets to have fun. And if you can be out there and be authentic and just have fun, I mean, that's
You're sharing love right there.
sharing
That's
love.
right.
I promise. I mean, and I talk about it. We play like to thousands and thousands of people every night. We're on tour now actually for a whole year, and I talk about that moment that I think we came here to love on our show, and I said I had lost faith in my life. I really exposed myself because I think one thing that's important for people to know is they're not alone. Like I'm the same. I'm no different than anybody, but there is a way. There is a way to see the light and have fun.
For sure. I love it.
Fantastic.
So we're just so excited for you to be here, for all your, creativity and for the world. We're excited to see where that fun camp goes. We'll be the first to sign up on that one.
And I remember you have a little present you promised us.
Oh yes,
yeah.
I love a present.
Hey, I believe in big empowerment in women, right? So
Yes.
that I'm taking no credit for that. That's my wonderful wife who made this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Choose love
I love
always.
Ew.
Thank you so much.
I believe
Great
that the
message.
power of what we do is this, right? Spread love like Nutella, and you'll be fine.
There we go.
Spread love
it.
like Nutella. So where can people
Yes.
find you again?
On they can go on Instagram, setdevo, or ildevo.com, or sebastianismbar.com. Wherever. On the street.
Devo on Instagram. So I just want to say thank you. May you choose love. May you choose to have some
Always.
fun and spread the word, spread the love. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thank you, guys.
Good
Thanks so
morning,
much.
La La Land.